Welcome to Disrupt the Flow, your go-to place for cutting-edge news on everything supply chain. Today, we have our third podcast, the one we are particularly excited about. Joining us is our very special friend from a decade and a half back, CCR, we went to the business school with. Some people just get it consistently right. CCR has had not one, not two, but three successful stints scaling and building startups. Can't wait for you to hear more about what he's up to.
Thank you, Neha. So today we're going to have a very exciting discussion that is going to be focused on transportation and how technology is helping carriers and ultimately end companies in how they move their products. Did you know that the transportation industry is over $1 trillion industry? But also, did you know that transportation players lose over $500 million from cargo theft every year? Something has to be done to address that. So with us today, as Neha mentioned, welcome CCR, the CEO of 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗄. So let's start, CCR. Tell us about your entrepreneurial journey. It's been a long time in the making.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Yeah, great to be with good friends and longtime friends. I'm not sure I always get it right, as Neha said, but I think I've had quite a journey in the supply chain tech space. Happy to share. And you mentioned some facts of how big it is, and then also how pervasive the problems are in the industry. So there's still plenty of opportunity for technology to come in and really make a difference and deliver something that's 10x better. And that's how I started. Back in the day, I worked for a trucking OEM, so a manufacturer of tractors, of trucking tractors, and started learning about the business of trucking and how trucking companies operate. And I was just hooked. I could see opportunity everywhere, and I wanted to start a business, and I did, and built that business, scaled that business, and then which eventually led to selling that business and then falling into an effort at scale. So Uber was building out a supply chain business, Uber Freight, and had a chance to help build that for a number of years and really enjoyed building new verticals within Uber Freight. So it was an exciting, more startup or more building new initiatives, new businesses, which then eventually led me to what I do now, which is 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗄. You mentioned it. We're a trailer telematics company. And I'm excited for that space and hope we get to talk about that more today.
Absolutely, CCR. So tell us more about 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗄. What is 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗄 and why are you excited about being there?
𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗄 is a trailer telematics company, and we help fleets, either for-hire fleets, private fleets, streamline their trailer operations. This is a really big and overlooked problem. Trailers, there's millions of trailers. In the US alone, think of it as 5 million trailers on the roads today, and most of them don't have any technology, to the fact that carriers don't even know where their trailers are. And fun fact, I like telling the story. We've had one customer call in and say, we clearly need some help. We need trailer telematics. And why is that? They had their customer call in and asked them to pick up a trailer, and they had absolutely no idea that a trailer was ever parked on their customer's lot. So that's really the starting point. And what I just described is like telematics to simply locate trailers, track and trace. But that's actually the basics of what you can do. And today technology has advanced and you can do so much more. And the trailer is the asset that hauls the cargo. So that's really where the freight that moves gets housed. And at the end of the day, that's the business, right? You're moving freight. So you really should care more about the trailer, starting on the outside, right? The state of the trailer, is it roadworthy? But then also going inside. Julia just mentioned cargo theft, really big problem, and a problem that continues to grow. Yet at the same time, fleets have underinvested in digitizing this asset that houses the cargo. So that's what we're all about. So 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗄 is solely focused on trailer telematics, digitizing, and then learning from the data that you get and helping fleets run their trailer operations better.
Super helpful here. And I guess that the follow-up question there naturally is, where do you see the largest value coming from as you engage with your customers and focus specifically on trailers, as you mentioned?
Yeah, I see the value coming from three areas. One is simply efficiency, the second one is safety, and the third one is security. On the efficiency side, it's really imagine you don't know where your assets are and all the things that you can't do if you don't know that basic location. So think of any automation of status updates to a fleet's customer. You think about effective dispatch and utilization of assets. You can't do that if you don't know where your assets are. So really tremendous value from simply digitizing, getting location, and as a result, streamlining your operations, driving up utilization. The second area, safety. Trucking, safety is, of course, it has a big human implication. Accidents happen, people get hurt all the time, and safety is a big focus of the trucking industry. But for fleets, it also directly translates into costs for lawsuits, for verdicts, for insurance. If you're not managing your safety because you don't know what state your trailer is in, if the brakes are working, if the tires are inflated, if the lights are working, then guess what? You're suffering the consequences. So you're not realizing those savings. You're not operating efficiently. So that's the safety aspect. And of course, you're reducing the human cost of any accidents happening. And then the security aspect. This is back to cargo theft, what we talked about, right? Where cargo theft is on the rise. That just continues to balloon and has a huge impact on fleets' P&L. Either you cover it directly out of pocket where you have to make your shipper whole, or it trickles down into insurance that's going to cover your claims, but at the end of the day, you still pay a higher premium. So getting a grip on that, and again, having just such an important piece in your operations, the asset, the trailer asset, unmanaged and undigitized, that's not intuitive, and you're leaving that value on the table. I'm excited for fleets tackling the asset, digitizing the trailer, and I see the value coming from those three areas: so efficiency, security, and safety.
Okay, and I imagine that this also applies across all the temperature ranges within the trailers, right? Because once you have refrigerated, that can be another source of loss for many companies.
Yeah, refrigerated. Thanks for bringing that up. This is actually a great area where fleets have already started to invest in trailer telematics. Anytime a refrigerated trailer is on the road, you're seeing more fleets leverage telematics to track the temperature curves, know if a load has spoiled or not. Also, and this is a great area to understand that you can do a lot more. You can, for example, establish a chain of custody if you're shipping food. Has anyone touched my freight? I can digitally show that the door has never opened. I can even, 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗹𝗲 enables you to create a video feed, sort of CCTV inside of the trailer that can prove no one has tampered with the food, so therefore it's still safe. And those types of innovations really matter. In this case, they reduce food waste or really spoiled loads, and it can have a tremendous impact on the economics for fleets.
Yeah, fully agree. That's an important aspect for the industry.
This is fascinating, Sia. So many amazing things you mentioned there between chain of custody and tamper-proofing and digital twin. My brain is running wild on all the tech innovations that you may be possibly using to enable all of this between IoT and blockchain and RPA and Gen AI. Can you bring alive some of the tech innovations you're looking at 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗹𝗶 and continue to explore for future as you bring alive these use cases?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, just like anyone, I'm excited about AI because AI tears down many walls. I mentioned earlier, if you have a CCTV video feed that comes from inside the trailer, you still got to interpret that data, and AI can help with that. Can actually think through what just happened, right? Is this a noteworthy event? Is this something that we can just let slip or only record rather than draw any alerts to? So at 𝗧𝗿𝗶𝗹𝗶𝗃, we leverage AI for for exactly that, for interpreting data and then drawing the right conclusions and either pulling the user in or just keeping a record and not disturbing the user if it doesn't warrant it. We do the same. Fleets have their different way of running their business. Some fleets have like safety thresholds that they're very particular about, that are custom to their operations. Now, as a telematics platform, if you want to support that, that can get very tedious. But again, AI can actually help you be that custom provider and support a fleet exactly in the way it wants to be supported. So rather than pre-scripting of this is how you do it, actually make it more dynamic and leverage AI to extract from the data what needs to be extracted. So we're excited about that, and we're leveraging that. That's on the call it platform or really solution side. I will say the hardware is also fascinating, and this is why I really think that there is a moment for trailer telematics now. If you think about the trailer asset, the trailer typically doesn't have a driver one-to-one map to it, right? That's different than a tractor. Many fleets have a driver that's always with the tractor, but trailers get parked, trailers get dropped at a shipper's location, and trailers can also be on the road for a very long time before they come into a shop. So really, you need the hardware to be resilient, durable, rugged. You don't want to touch it all the time. And we've seen tremendous opportunity and innovation there. I have one of the 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗶 devices right here in front of me. That little hockey puck-sized device actually has a 7-year battery and gives me the location of a trailer for 7 years. Never have to touch it again. That's just one of those innovations that has truly changed the game for trailer telematics. I mentioned camera earlier before as well. Those things just weren't around even a couple of years ago. And we leverage edge computing to interpret data to really drive the most insight out of what we're seeing. There's a lot of cool things happening, specifically in the trailer telematics market. And at the end of the day, it just improves the ROI for fleets. Because anytime you put hardware on, anytime you touch a trailer, that's cost. But what does that then translate into in terms of value? So driving the ROI. So if you, first off, you can make better use of the data and translating that into insight, into impact on your P&L, that drives the ROI up. But then the hardware innovation really drives the cost down. So the ROI is a lot stronger for trailer telematics than it was years ago. And that's why I think it's having a moment and the time is right for it.
Very cool.
That's amazing, 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏. So maybe you mentioned a few of the value areas and the innovations. Can you maybe bring to life one or two examples of when a customer came to 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and then you showcase the impact that smart telematics can do on their fleet?
Yeah. Let me start with I would still consider it a basic example, but in the value pool of efficiency. Right? So a fleet came to us. They operate mostly drop trailer pools and dedicated fleet setups. And for them, the math really depends on, okay, how many assets do I now need to reserve for a certain customer? And their problem really was they had no way of tracking how quickly they would turn assets over at a shipper's site. So they ended up putting 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 telematics on it. We put sensors to detect whether a trailer is loaded or not. And very quickly, they were able to see which of their customers' facilities load the trailers the fastest and which ones actually unload or load the trailer not within the agreed SLA. As a result, they were able to either pull off trailers or reduce the number of assets committed. They were able to bill the customer for any delays, any layovers, and really just create tremendous value for them. And they had a payback to the 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 implementation, which really was shorter than 2 months. Tremendous success on that one. I love that one. There's another example, and this goes more in the imaging and camera space. One fleet had tremendous issues with cargo theft, and then installing cameras on their trailers. They were able to whenever a theft occurred, actually have a clear documentation, identify who and where access the cargo. And we're either able to pull in law enforcement or work through their claims, work their claims down. So for them, also a very clear ROI. They spend money on digitizing their trailers, but got a very strong payback very quickly for just reducing their exposure.
Very nice, 𝗧𝗏. So you mentioned a quick payback to the investment. If I am a carrier, I'm already excited that I can see value that soon. What is the best way for a carrier to think of an MVP with you and see the benefits?
An MVP to really get to digitizing your trailers starts with the efficiency of just getting location tracking onto your trailer. That's when you start thinking about your trailer as a digital asset. And that can be done in really a very quick fashion. We've got devices that install within minutes and brought online within minutes. And then quickly underutilized assets that are maybe not where they should be. So either stolen, lost assets. And it's a basic use case, but there's a clear payback because of its simplicity. And it's quite easy to just roll it out to the whole fleet within really just a little effort. So that's a good way to start. And then what we see with our customers, the more sophisticated they are, the more sophisticated their applications. Some fleets go very deep into optimizing their maintenance. So they really want to have a full comprehensive telematics suite, which goes into brakes, lights, tires. Is my trailer roadworthy? And that typically has a higher upfront investment. But at the same time, those fleets, they thrive on having high uptime. They thrive on bringing their maintenance costs down. They thrive on assets that have high longevity. Depending on the profile of the fleet or what it is that they're trying to optimize, you can start from easy, just where's my trailer, but you can go all the way to really help me drive down my biggest cost items.
That makes a lot of sense, 𝗧𝗏. And remind me, is this tracking at a pallet level or a trailer level?
We focus on the trailer, and 𝗦𝗏𝗶𝗹𝗲 really is as a specialist in digitizing trailers. But we provide so many capabilities. Again, we provide edge computing on the trailer that some fleets have actually leveraged 𝗦𝗏𝗶𝗹𝗲 to do more granular level tracking on the pallet. It's not our specialty, but we work with partners to enable that and anything in between.
I can only imagine from my previous life at Microsoft in hardware supply chain how exciting this would be to be able to track exactly where your trailer pallet is in the transit. Thank you for sharing that.
I can imagine, yeah.
Super. So 𝗧𝗏, maybe zooming out because you talk to other people in the industry as well, right? What are some 2 or 3 other cool innovations that you're seeing in the transportation industry that get you excited about the continued growth to meet the demand here?
Yeah, I started today's conversation saying that logistics is always there's always opportunities to really find 10x better solutions. And I'm still excited about that. And I am 15 years later, and it's still there and it's still exciting. Some of the coolest things that I've seen lately, AI deployed in the back office. There's a lot of back office steps that are not necessarily the core competency of any supply chain provider. So just getting those out of the way in the most effective or efficient way, I geek out about that. And I think that there's a lot of innovation happening there. There's also companies trying to really deploy AI end to end. I'm not sure. I still think there's a core value add for everyone, and I'm not sure AI can actually play a role across all of that. But
okay.
Either way, so excited about AI for the purpose of efficiency and specifically in the back office. I still really geek out about autonomous trucks. It's a little out of fashion at the moment, but I really am excited about the safety benefits that come from it. And there's so much cool innovation in that space. And it really feels like we're at the cusp of seeing those autonomous fleets deployed at scale. Yeah, I think this will happen here within the next 2 years or so at scale. And when you're in San Francisco and you see the 𝗦𝗺 robo taxis driving around, I really can't wait for our highways to look similar, where there's a lot more autonomous vehicles on the road, because again, I think there's a tremendous safety benefit. Now, then I think to call out one more, I've also seen a lot of very cool innovation in the business side of trucking, especially the rates negotiation between shipper, carrier, broker. At the end of the day, it's all about money, right? And money is the inefficiency factor, because there's always that one truck that is the closest to pick up the load. But why is that truck not picking up the load? Because of money, because there's a cheaper truck elsewhere. And that's always been the case, right? There's always been negotiation between the parties, but there's a lot of innovation creating transparency of, okay, how do you actually think about the cost of moving this? How do shippers collaborate, right? One goes from A to B, the other from B to A. How do you now pool your freight? How do you agree with carriers on round trips rather than one ways? So I think there's, in the rate space, that's probably the area the most ripe for innovation, disruption, and I continue to be excited about that.
That's great. Thank you, 𝗧𝗏. I think, yeah, these are great insights for us on the transportation industry. And based on what you're saying, I think the sky is the limit in terms of how it can be disrupted, right? So I think you've started with one area right now, but there are certainly other areas to be disrupted. So excited to continue to see how you continue to evolve 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and anything else that you do. So thank you for taking some time from your busy day today. And then let me open it up. Any final words that we haven't discussed before we conclude?
Maybe just a thank you to both of you. Always excited to be talking to supply chain leaders. You didn't get a chance to highlight your backgrounds, but of course, both of you careers in really looking at supply chain innovation from either high level, but also from a hands-on level. Super great to see you now putting Disrupt the Flow front and center, and excited to see those episodes come out. I'll be listening. Thanks for having me today.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, 𝗧𝗏. If today's discussion sparked new ideas, please connect with 𝗧𝗏. Follow him on LinkedIn, 𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗏 on LinkedIn. Not something I would usually say, but if you want to work for 𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗏, we know where 𝗧𝗏 is publishing job opportunities. And please continue to follow Disrupt the Flow. We commit to bringing fantastic leaders like 𝗧𝗏 and make it engaging and exciting. Thank you so much, 𝗧𝗏.
Thanks. Good to see you.